Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of our Ladies Summit. If you can hear me loud and clear and you are excited to be here, can you type ready for day 2 in the chat box? Go ahead and type ready for day 2 in the chat box. Go ahead and do that. If you're here loud and clear and you can hear me, go ahead and type ready for day 2 in the chat box. Awesome. All right. I see it coming. It therefore means that number 1, my sound is good on your end. Number 2, you are up and running. Awesome. Happy to see some men in the house. Awesome. 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 Incredible. Hey, good to see you, Leonardo, on YouTube. Awesome. All right. Good to see you here on Zoom, on Facebook, on YouTube. You're welcome. Welcome to day 2 of another encounter, day 2 of transformation. This will be a time of your life. Awesome. All right. Let's do city and country roll call. Go ahead in the chat box, type your city and your country. Let me see if we have new countries represented here. Go ahead and represent your city and your country. You're proud of your country, proud of your city. Where are you joining us from? Comment your city and your country. All right. I see Abu Dhabi, UAE, Mama Yvette. Is that Eve or Yvette? Good to see you. I see Yaoundé, Cameroon. I see Boya, Cameroon. Yes. Rich girl, I like your name. I see Bamenda, Cameroon. Yes, good. London, UK. I see Germany in the house. Landshut, Germany. I see Limbe, Cameroon. Awesome. I see Douala, Cameroon in the house. Good. I see Louisiana, USA in the house. I see Limbe, Cameroon. If somebody does not comment from Kumbu, from Banso, Kumbu, I will not teach today. That's the number 1 city in the world. If somebody doesn't comment from Kumbu, I'm not teaching today. All right. I see Bonjongo, Bonaberi, Douala. I see Accra, Ghana, one of my favorite cities. I see Singapore in the house. Coach Rahel Randy. So that is where you went to chop money for birthday in Singapore. When I grow up, I'll be like you. When I will grow up in this life, I'll be like you. Happy birthday again to you. Keep impacting, keep influencing this generation. You are a blessing in such. God has to give you more life. There are some people that God must fight to make sure that they live long in this life because of what they're doing. Nothing keeps you longer like purpose. Because God is like, if this one goes, lives will be affected. Awesome. Kribi Cameroon is in the house. All right. Good to see many people are still joining us. And of course, they will keep catching up and we will keep on going. If you're new here, you're welcome. Welcome to the Ladies Summit. The Ladies Summit is one of our special programs that we organize under Professionals and Entrepreneurs Fellowship International. And we have been running as an institution, as a ministry for 6 years today. And we have a special program dedicated to the ladies, to the Christian ladies in our community who are visionaries, who are leaders, who are executives, who know that there is more that God called them to do beyond just clapping hands in church and speaking in tongues. All right, those who want to take that influence to the marketplace and create transformational impact. So that is why we have the Institute of Strategic Influence and Leadership. And the aim is to raise ladies who shape strategies in their industries, who change systems for good, and create intentional outcomes. And their voices in their generations, in their industries, and of course, in their nations. And today is day 2 of our time that we will be having for the next couple of days. Let me ask a question in the chat box and give me some feedback, especially for those who are in North America and those who are in other countries. They always wonder why 4 a.m. Like I always say, the first episode of the program started in Cameroon, and more than 90% of the community, hundreds of people, are Cameroonians, Nigerians, some people from Ghana, South Africa, and all of that. But the real reason for that was to build the muscle of self-discipline, the ability to tame your appetite, subdue your flesh, and do what your spirit wants. And I read a research one time, and it said anybody who can train his or herself to leave the bed anytime they want, that person will build strong self-discipline, and they will have high chances of succeeding in life. Why? Because they know how to tame their appetite, and they know how to practice self-control and do what matters for them. That's why we do 4 a.m. most of the times, all right? And let me see, if this is your first time as a lady, or there are men who are part of this program, maybe they are learning to go teach their girlfriends and their fiancés and their wives. That's good. But if this is your first time of waking up at 4 a.m. for the purpose of learning, building capacity, can you type first time in the chat box or in the comment section? Especially if you're waking up from a time zone that is 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. Like that. Can you type first time in the chat box? All right. Don't be shy. There's always a first time for everybody. When I did, we always call it morning school. When I did morning school for the first time about 8 years ago, most of the mentees who were in the community, they struggle with it we did 30 days. 30 days of waking up every morning at 4 a.m. Until today is one of the biggest testimonies I keep receiving from people who participated in that program. Some people said it changed their lives for good because it challenged them to do what they've never done before, right? Because the concept was, if you skip one day, we remove you from the WhatsApp group, all right? So people were like on fire for 30 days, 4 a.m. every day, and they were waking up, and it changed their mindset. It made them to see that they can achieve anything they set their mind to do with the right intentionality, all right? And I am excited for that. For those of you that's your first time, trust me, it will change your life forever. You will learn to know that you have that strong will, you have that self-control, you have that capacity inside of you to decide to do what is good for your destiny. And when you pursue it, you can never remain the same. All right, welcome again, everybody. More people are here. Good to have all of you. And there is a fine girl in this chat box. Her name is Nola Sylvie. That is the babe of my life. If you want me to teach very well, better go ahead and celebrate my wife so that I can teach very well. If not, I'm not going to teach very well. Awesome. All right, that's just a joke, but I am a better, purposeful person because I married a right woman. All right. Awesome. Let's get to day 2. And today I'm super excited with what I'm going to cover today. And your life will never remain the same. So the theme for our Ladies Summit for this January edition is the architecture of the influential woman. And this particular theme is not a coincidence because of the kind of generation that we are in, the kind of economy that we are in, the kind of dispensation that we are in. About um, about 7 years ago, I started talking a lot about the perception economy. I started talking a lot about the attention economy. I started talking a lot about the ability to build, manage, and monetize attention. Why? Because as days go by, we keep coming closer and closer, or we have become part of that generation where influence is now a weapon. Influence is now an asset. And show me any woman who understands how to be influential. I guarantee you're going to find two things in the life of that particular woman. Number one, you're going to find a woman who is impacting other people. And number two, you are going to find a woman who is consistently growing in terms of income and prosperity, in terms of finances. Why? Because if there is one thing about influence, is that influence has the ability to directly affect your finances, especially if you understand what I like to call the business part, of influence, or what I like to call the ability to monetize influence. All right. So, like I always say, you see, years ago, let's say in my mother's generation, when she was, let's say, 20 years old, influence was not as powerful as it is today. Let's say when my mother was 20 years old, it was more important to have land than to be influential per se. But we are now in a generation where somebody can build a good following on social media, monetize that following, raise money from a normal Facebook page, and go buy a land worth millions. That's the kind of generation we are in right now. You see, about 8 years ago, there was something I did where I created a WhatsApp group and I created a structure and challenged people to pay 10,000 francs a month to be in that WhatsApp group. And guess what? A good number of people paid. Before like January 20th, I had made about 1.2 million francs from a WhatsApp group. What happened? Just the ability of merging knowledge and a WhatsApp group, and people were able to pay. That was 8 years ago. You see, and that happened because of the ability to influence people per se, right? So we are in a generation where if you're going to be a woman who goes beyond just being a housewife and being a mother, and those are very important offices, right? But God, like I always say, I'm one of those who believe that women are more intelligent than men, right? And I have many reasons to prove that. Okay. But so every woman has so much that they can offer. And one thing that you need to pay attention to and know how to do is, what can I do as a woman to become influential? And again, like I said on day one of this program, this particular program will speak more for a lady who understands that, or that lady who has been perceiving, or you just have that knowing, that strong desire that there is more I have for my generation, then the program is for you. If that's you, type me in the chat box. You have been having this strong sense, and especially you have that desire, but you are confused on what to do. You don't know where to start, then the program is for you. You know there is more I have to bring to the table. There is so much more I can contribute to my generation, to other women, to young people, whatever target group that you are called to serve. You know there is so much more. You have that desire to constantly lead other people or to contribute to the advancement of other people, then this is for you. So today I'm going to teach on the topic, how to become a custodian of purpose and influence as a woman trusted with more for my generation. How to become a custodian of purpose and influence as a woman trusted with more for her generation. Type in the chat box, I am a custodian of purpose and influence. Affirmations are very important. That is how you feed it into your heart, into your subconscious personality. Type in the chat box, I am a custodian of purpose and influence. As you're typing, the next phrase to add is, I am a woman trusted with more for this generation. Believe that. There are many of you here that there are nations that will never be complete if you don't rise to the purpose and the influence God gave you. Type, I am a woman trusted with more for my generation. And like I said, our key text for this particular Ladies Summit is Proverbs chapter 31. And somebody wondered yesterday that, did you just teach that from Proverbs 31? Yes, it came from there. So today I'm going to focus on the first part of Proverbs chapter 31, verse 2. Proverbs 31, verse 2. That is the focus for today. And verse 2 will be the A part of that verse 2. Proverbs 31, verse 2. The Bible says, what, my son, and what, son of my womb? What, my son, and what, son of my womb? And what, son of my vows? That particular A part of that scripture communicates a lot about the mentality of the mother of King Lemuel. What, my son? What, son of my womb? And what, son of my vows? When you read that particular, or those particular statements that she made, if you're somebody who pays attention to how people sound, you try to understand why people use some words when they speak, you're going to understand that the mother of King Lemuel was not just talking casually. No. This mother, follow me carefully, the way she sounded, when I read that particular statement, what, my son, and what, the son of my womb, and what, the son of my vows, you're going to see, you're going to perceive, you're going to understand that this is a mother who sees the life of her son as entrusted to her. She did not see this son as accidental. Listen carefully. She did not see this son as accidental, because look at her words. The son of my womb, the son of my vows. Those words did not leave my mind. I kept on trying to understand, what kind of a mother is this? See, there is a difference between you and my son. There's a difference when you say you are the son of my womb. There's a difference when you say you are my son. And there is a difference when a mother says you are the son of my vows. That is the mindset of a custodian of purpose and influence. That's the mindset of a woman who understands I was not just given a child. I was given a son that matters. the son of my womb, the son of my vows. Follow me carefully. So this paints the picture from the way she sounded. This paints the picture of a mother who sees the son that she gave birth to not just as an average child, but she sees it as an entrustment from God. When you understand that something is an entrustment to you, you have to pay the price to be the right custodian of what was entrusted to you. And this is a very important element if you are going to be a woman of influence. You have to learn to understand how to be the right custodian of the purpose, the influence, the ideas, the assignments, the calling that God has entrusted to you as a woman. Yes, the son of my womb, the son of my vows. So when the mother says, what my son, and what the son of my womb, you see, this woman was not being dramatic. No, she was acknowledging responsibility. She was acknowledging responsibility. And this is a very important element if you're going to end up being a woman of influence and of purpose. You must become that person. You must become that woman who understands how to acknowledge the responsibility given to you. And you go a step further and you become the custodian of that purpose, of that responsibility. Let me tell you something. There is no woman under the sound of my voice that God has not entrusted something to. There is none. Listen to me carefully. There is no woman under the sound of my voice that God, in his mercy, in his favor, that he has not entrusted something more to. There's no woman, including men, of course. But you see, the difference between women who are currently advancing in purpose and influence and the women who are average and literally non-existent, basically, the difference is that some women understood there is something that God has entrusted to me. And for this thing that has been entrusted to me, if this thing is going to impact me and impact the world, I need to be a good custodian of what was entrusted to me. So she was acknowledging that responsibility. This is the son of my vows. This is the son of my womb. You see, it is the same like this is a community of Christian women who are in the marketplace per se, most of you guys. You can paraphrase this to be, let's say you go to God in prayer and you pray for something, you pray for ideas, you pray for God to show you things to do that can lead to prosperity. That's an example, right? And if you're somebody who understands the law of custody, the law of acknowledging what was committed to you, if ideas start coming, there is a way you have to treat those ideas. You begin to have the mindset, this particular idea that came to me, this is the idea that came from my spiritual travail. This is the idea that came out from the womb of travailing in the place of prayer. And when you begin to value certain things in your life like that, you become the custodian of what is committed to you. And when you are a custodian of what is committed to you, you begin to take responsibility to acknowledge and to develop it. That is when you begin to enjoy the benefits of what was committed to you. So when you read that particular statement in Proverbs chapter 31, verse 2, where she said, "What the son of my womb and the son of my vows." One thing that that particular statement communicates is that she is recognizing that this life that she has did not happen by chance. This sounds so simple, but if many people can begin to identify some key things in their lives and begin to advance towards those things with the mindset that this thing that was committed to me was not committed to me by chance. This was an intentional act of divinity to entrust me with purpose, to entrust me with an assignment. And this assignment is critical for national agenda or even global agenda. So her thinking is this: if this life was entrusted to me, then I am accountable for how this life must be shaped. So it is the same way if you're going to be a woman of influence, you have to begin to understand that any giftings, any skill set, any ideas, purpose, assignments, callings entrusted to you, you are accountable for how you shape that particular assignment. And like I always fondly say, nobody pays for passion. Nobody values natural giftings. People value what has been shaped into a relevant, proficient skill that can create value, create impact. Then they can value that and they can pay for it. Like I always give an example. It is one thing to be fluent as a lady. It is another thing to build capacity, let's say in business strategy, in leadership development, in agriculture. It is one thing to build capacity that will now make that fluency of yours to be paid across nations. So because you are fluent and you're articulate, that's good. But you see, if you don't begin to pay the price to become accountable to the entrustment of what was given to you, to shape it into something valuable, you will become what I always say, talented and broke people. There are very talented poor people. There are very gifted poor people. It is not because God designed that system for them. No, it's because God entrusted the talent to them. God entrusted the giftings to them. But you see, it takes pain, it takes sacrifice, it takes commitment, it takes a lot of dedication and consistency to convert that talent, that gifting, into something valuable and proficient that a king can pay for. That is why the Bible says that nations only come to your rising and kings only come to the brightness of your rising. Nobody comes to what is natural. It's a spiritual law of success. If you want nations to come to you, you must start rising. And if you want the kings, that means voices of influence from those nations to come to you, you must make sure that your rising is very bright. So you have to be consistent from rising to being somebody who is rising very bright so that both nations and the kings of those nations can run to you. So, as a lady listening to me right now, there are different things that God has entrusted to you. I have a question for you. Are you accountable? Are you a good custodian of what was entrusted to you to the extent that you are shaping it? Because in this particular Proverbs 31, this mother was talking to a son who was about to become a king, per se. So she understood that this particular son who is about to become a king was entrusted to me. And for this son to become a good king, I must be accountable to shaping the outcome of this son. So in our context, there is something God has entrusted to you, from assignments to callings to purpose to passion to giftings to talents to whatever that He has committed to you. Are you accountable in shaping how that particular thing is going to become? I like to use metrics. So let me ask people here right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accountable are you to what has been committed to you? Type in the chat box and in the comment section. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accountable are you to what was committed to you? How accountable are you? You see, and when I talk about accountability, this accountability will require a lot from you. It will require so much from you. It will require you to pay the price and not do what other ladies in your generation and age group are doing so that you can be able to achieve and do what they cannot achieve. I always share this particular story. You see, years ago in Kumbu, the 2010s, 11 and 12 and all of that, the same things I'm teaching today, I used to teach in Banso at the time. And I was my friends were talking about it. I was so committed that sometimes I was studying like 7 hours every day for months. Between 2010 and 2016, I used to go to bed at 11 p.m. and I wake up at 2 a.m. Like for so long, it's as if I was caught up on something. And we went to a gathering one time, one of my friends just said, what you're teaching does not work here. And all of a sudden, I just said, these same things I'm teaching you, you're going to see me travel the world and do this particular thing. That was so much, but I'm trying to paint the picture of how much I went to great length to begin to shape, to be accountable to what was committed to me. And this is a Christian community also. You see, it is one thing for you to receive a prophecy or for you to understand what God has given you. And it is one thing to take responsibility to refine and rise and shape that thing into something that the world can begin to consume. Right? So, what am I saying? Years ago, I received a prophecy or a confirmation that I had a teaching gift. Right? But you see, that particular teaching gift would have not changed my life and maybe the lives of many people that I have come across to teach and to train if I did not pay the price to become accountable to what was entrusted to me to shape the outcomes. So that's why I'm talking on the topic, being a custodian of purpose, influence, and you can add giftings, talents, skills, ideas, whatever in that bracket. Because as a woman, as a lady, God entrusted you with more for your generation. See, there is nobody on earth that does not carry something that is beyond themselves. Nobody. Any human being carries something that is bigger. But if they begin to pay the price to build and develop and enhance that particular entrustment, a lot will change in their own lives. And listen to me. One thing I have learned in life is that there are some things that when you become aware of, they change your behavior. Let me say it again. There are some things that when you become aware of, they change your behavior. They change your routine. They change your habits. They change your lifestyle. I was talking to a lady one time. I think she's a Mincy, and she was complaining about procrastination, complaining about, all these things. And I asked her a question: have you truly discovered your purpose? She said yes. I said no. Sometimes I'm very blunt. I said it's a lie. You don't know your purpose. She looked at me. I said, look, if you have truly found your purpose, there are some things you can no longer suffer with. And this goes to see, if you have truly found your purpose, there are some things you can no longer battle with because the weight of your purpose will consume those things. I said, no, you have not found your purpose. I said, look, there are some things that when you have the power, those things have the weightiness, those things have the influence to change your behavior, to change your character, to change your lifestyle, to change your routine. Because we say that when you begin to understand some things about life, instead of asking, what do I feel like doing with my life? That's a very bad question to ask. You stop asking that. The right question to ask is, what has been placed in my care? What has God entrusted to me that I must develop it so well that nations can consume? When you start asking that kind of question, you're going to find something in your life that God entrusted to you. And if you pay the price to develop it well, your destiny will never remain the same. A growing person, a growing lady will stop asking, oh, what can I do in my life here? What do I feel like doing in my life? That's the wrong question to ask. What you do with your life is as a result of what has been entrusted to you. That's why many people choose the wrong careers, because they do things from the place of feeling. But if you start doing things from the place of what has been placed in my care, what has been entrusted to me, and how must I begin to develop it to the extent that nations can come to my rising and kings from those nations can come to the brightness of my rising, you're going to change your life forever. So going back to the woman in Proverbs chapter 31, verse 2, where she said, and what son of my womb, and what son of my vows. What that communicates to me is that as a mother, as a woman, she was living with the understanding that her life carries a responsibility beyond herself, because you only make a vow to something bigger than you, the son of my vows. So she was living with the understanding that I carry life, I carry this son, I carry a responsibility that is beyond myself. And that is a very important revelation to have. Because when you begin to live with the understanding that you carry a responsibility beyond yourself, there are some things you can no longer do. There is a way a custodian lives. I am telling you, there is a way a custodian of purpose, a custodian of callings, a custodian of an assignment for nations, there is a way they live. So knowing Your purpose is not enough. But going a step further and stewarding and being a good custodian, a good developer of that purpose is what will make you a woman of influence in what you're called to do. Because if you're going to be a person of influence, a woman of influence, you have to start thinking in the direction of how can I use what has been given to me to affect others while I am living, even long after I am gone? You begin to ask those kind of questions. How can I use what I have been given in a way that can affect others while I am living in my time, in my generation, and even when I am gone to the world beyond? How can I start using that? It will change your commitment. It will change your consistency. It will change your dedication. It will change how you do some things. And here's one thing I have learned about life. There are some things that when you begin to do the right way, there are some things that you struggle with that will die a natural death. You know why? Because when you begin to minister to other people, when you begin to influence other people, the ripple effect is that the value that you are extending, the value that you're expressing, it has the capacity to begin to bring back to you, maybe in monetary terms, in opportunities, in open doors, in platforms, those things that if you were not expressing and if you were not developing what was committed to you, if you were not a good custodian of your purpose and your assignments and your callings, those things would have not come to you. So the question is, how are you using what was given to you to affect others while you're living and even after you're gone? How are you doing that? So when you read that particular Proverbs 31 verse 2, where she says, what my son? What the son of my womb? You see, she was not questioning the son. If you wear your thinking cap and try to ask that question from your own perspective, you're going to see that one of the things that she was doing so seriously is she was questioning her responsibility towards what was committed to her. Oh, this has been given to me. How can I be responsible towards what has been entrusted to me? So she was saying, look, something came to this world through me, and I must not be casual about this. That's why she made a vow. She said, the sum of my vows is like a mother saying, because you came through me, I vow I'll be a good parent to you. I will raise you like a king. That's responsibility. Go back to your calling. Go back to your purpose. Are you casual regarding your assignment? Or are you taking responsibility regarding that assignment? There are two types of purposeful people. One who is taking responsibility and one who knows his or her purpose, but is very casual towards that. And how do you know the difference? Private commitment. Oh, yes, private commitment. That is the difference between somebody who is taking responsibility for her purpose and somebody who is casual towards her purpose. The sum of my vows. Those are the words of a diligent woman. Those are the words of a responsible lady. Because God has committed this skill, this talent, this gifting to me, this idea to me, I vow to be diligent on a daily basis. I vow to take responsibility to develop and express this idea, this gifting consistently until nations start coming to me and kings from those nations start coming to me. What vows have you made? What vows have you made? I am telling you, if you are going to become a woman of influence in your time, one thing you must pay the price to do is to become the custodian of your purpose, of your assignment, of your giftings, of your talent, of your ideas. You have been too casual for too long. You have been too casual for too long. If this is for you, type not anymore in the chat box. Not anymore. There are many people listening to me right now that the only thing that if you do this year that will change your life is for you to flip the switch. Is to flip the switch from being casual to taking responsibility for what God has committed to you. Becoming a true custodian of what God has committed to you. That is what you need. That is what you need. Because this is so important. This is so important because your ideas, your calling, your assignment, your sense of purpose as a lady, those things did not appear randomly. You see, many people do not treat ideas as spiritual substance. Many people do not treat their purpose as a spiritual gift. Many people do not treat their giftings as spiritual substance. Like I always say, Moses, for you to become a person of influence, you must value your rod as the rod of God. David, if you must become a person of influence at a point in your life, you must value the slingshot that you have, and you must value the skills that you have. Because your ability to execute it well at the right time will change your life forever. There are many people, this is a Christian community, there are many people busy fasting and praying for breakthroughs, open doors, platforms. Meanwhile, their pathway to the throne, they are ignoring the development of that skill, of that gifting, of that purpose, and that calling. There's somebody listening to me as basic as your passion for orphans. It may sound so basic, but you don't know that your pathway for you to shaking hands with presidents and people of influence in your generation is for you to sit down with that particular idea, craft a model, craft a method, develop strategies and systems unique to you and what God has committed to you. Begin to apply and practice it. And before you know it, nations will come to you and hire you and pay you and invite you. We have seen that your model is working. Come and teach us how you're doing this. But the same you that you carry something that can open doors to nations for you, you are ignoring that particular sense of purpose. You are ignoring that particular idea, that particular calling, but you are praying on a daily basis, Father, open doors for me. And God is responding back to you, my daughter, the pathway to the throne is the slingshot you are ignoring. The pathway to nations is the idea you have refused to become a good custodian and to pay the price to harness and to develop. I always fondly say that, you see, ideas pass through you. But ideas do not exist for you alone. Listen to me carefully. If you are a person who is good at receiving ideas and you don't pay the price to harness and develop those ideas so they can exist for other people, you will always struggle in life. Because the society is designed for producers and for creators and for builders. The society does not favor consumers. The society does not favor consumers. Let me go to extreme a bit. If you are listening to me and you're from any very developed country, United States, Canada, UK, Germany, Australia, all these are people from different very developed countries. As long as you are a consumer in that country, the highest thing that you have is you have a job and you work and they pay you salary. You will always be a slave. You will never be a king. You will never be a queen. Anybody who is a king or a person of influence is not a consumer. That person is a consistent producer and creator of something. And you see, these nations have been designed to make consumers slaves and make producers kings. That's why you see, like in a country like America, even Canada, even UK, you see people that will do things as basic as good TikTok videos. They're cashing out from it because it's another dimension of producing and creating. So you can see somebody whose full-time job is creating funny content, and they're making money more than you who has a master's degree. You know why? The society is designed to favor producers and creators. And as long as you're a consumer, you will always be a slave. You see that? So, just as this child in Proverbs chapter 31, verse 2 passed through the mother, it is the same way that insights pass through your mind. It's the same way that God is going to place burdens in your spirit. There are some of you here that as you're listening to me, you have burdens. You have burdens for kids, for youth, for married women, for single girls, single brothers, for young men. You have burdens scattered across. Those are entrustment. God entrusting insights, burdens, assignments, callings, giftings, skill set to you. But you see, the most important thing is not the recognition of those burdens and what has been entrusted to you, because that is easy. The hardest part, and which is the critical part, is for you to become not just the receiver of the burden of the assignments of the giftings, but to become a custodian, a developer, somebody who can enhance that which was entrusted so it can become valuable for your generation. And you see, let me say this. One reason why many people struggle to harness this kind of mindset is because many people do not fathom the idea that God intentionally created them and sent here for an assignment. Many people do not yet have that revelation. If you believe your life is accidental, you are going to treat your life and your ideas casually. I'm telling you. If you don't believe that God sent you here Maybe you were born in 1980, 1985, 1990, 1995. Whatever age you were born, if you don't believe that, the time you entered this earth and between the time you're going to leave, if you don't believe that within that particular window, God intentionally sent you here for an assignment, you're going to be a very casual person. You're going to live life very casually. And casual people produce casual results. You see, I think I qualify to talk about this, having this mindset of believing that you are accidental and you begin to treat your life as accidental, right? I was born out of wedlock, right? So it means that the gentleman who got my mom pregnant, you understand the picture, right? So it is very easier for me. And there was a time I was having those thoughts that I am accidental. But you see, thank God for the Bible. If there's a book that rewired my mind to be able to understand that, no, I am a workmanship well crafted and sent on earth for a particular reason. And it just happened that God was so desperate that he wanted me to arrive on earth on a particular month, on a particular day, in a particular year. And there were some two adults doing something stupid. And God said, you know what? Let him pass through those two people. Right? That's my mindset. Right? So they were like, you know what? This guy must be on earth at this time. So let's find a channel and send him through. Okay? So what am I saying? If you believe or if you don't have the revelation of the divine intentionality regarding your life, you're going to be a very casual human being. So there are some people that at the back of their mind, they believe that their life is accidental. I just came on earth to escort other people. There are people who believe that because of where they were born, they are not supposed to be successful. You fall in that category of you believe your life is an accident. And that mindset has the capacity to influence how you face life. And you begin to treat your life and even the ideas that God commits to you as casual ideas. Let me tell you something. Write this down. Ladies, listen to me. If you believe that your destiny, your purpose is optional, you are going to procrastinate execution. If you believe or if you see your purpose, your calling, your assignment, your giftings, your talent as something normal, something optional, I guarantee you, you are going to be a chief procrastination officer. The day you have the revelation, I am telling you, the day you have the revelation that your purpose is not optional, your giftings, your talents, your skill set, those things are not optional, and those things have a major role to play in the fullness of your destiny. That is the day that procrastination dies in your life and massive execution arises in your destiny. That is the day it dies. But until you have the consciousness and the revelation that, look, this is not optional. What God has committed to me is not normal. It doesn't matter. The day you do that, that is the day you will be that effective, action-oriented lady who produces result, not just at your local level, but at a global scale, at a national scale, at a generational scale. And one of the major reasons that many people are not good custodians of their purpose, their giftings, and what God has committed to them is because They ask questions that are of disservice to their calling, to their destiny. Let me give you quick examples. If I give any examples and you ask questions like that, type I relate in the chat box. Number one, you ask questions like, am I ready for this? You ask questions like, do I have confidence to do this? You ask questions like, do I feel like doing this? You ask questions like, will people accept me? You ask questions like, will they trust me? That is the mindset that is making you a poor custodian of what God has committed to you. And that is the same mindset that is holding you back from your greatest testimony. You see, I always say this, and I say this by the grace of God, due to the speaking and the consulting, yes, what if I am not perfect, right? It has helped me to travel close to 20 countries, 4 continents, right? Meet powerful people across the world. I always say this. You see, for those who are not Cameroonians, I come from a tribe known as Banso, right? And we love our mother tongue, our culture so much. So we speak it a lot. So it tends to affect how we pronounce words, right? And I am not, I have very close friends. I am not the most fluent, in my circle. I know that. I have friends that are incredibly articulate, very articulate, right? So, but if there is one thing that I am very good at, if there's one philosophy I live by is joy, but start imperfect and perfect in the process. I am movement oriented. I am the on the go guy. I don't care whether you enjoy it or not. That is your problem. My problem is that I hit the ground running. You will catch me while I am running. One of the most incredible attributes that anybody can develop if you're going to end up being influential is for you to develop the boldness to fail while going forward. It's for you to overcome the desire to be perfect and choose movements and actions over perfection. You have to weigh the consciousness. Remember, we're talking on the topic being a custodian of your purpose, your calling, your giftings, and so on. You need to come to a place where, as a lady, you're consistently shaping what has been entrusted to you. You're consistently preparing and harnessing it and being ready to release, and you keep on going. Let me tell you something. If you are not ready to be publicly embarrassed, you are not ready to become a voice of influence. It sounds scary, but that is a price you have to pay and conquer in your psychology. If you are not ready to be publicly embarrassed, you are not ready for people to laugh at you in public, you are not ready for somebody to read what you have written and tell you rubbish, you are not ready. You see, one thing I like to do is I like to read the biographies of those who have made it. There is no biography I have ever read that the person did not experience failure, embarrassment, laughter. They experience different things in their journey because they have the mindset of the idea is start imperfect, perfect in the process. You see, so I have some questions for you. 3 important questions I want to ask everybody as we round up. Number one, What ideas are you sitting on right now that we are meant to be developed for nations to consume? What ideas, what giftings, what skill set are you sitting on right now? Are you too lazy to develop so that nations can consume? Number two, and this is very important, what insights, what wisdom are you withholding? You are not sharing confidently because you are afraid somebody will laugh at you. What insight, what wisdom are you withholding that was meant to guide others into destiny? What are you withholding? What if I withheld the idea of the Ladies' Summit? What if I withheld and I did not step out in boldness to develop these ideas I am teaching you? What if I withheld? I was afraid to step out to share with you. You know the consequences of you withholding your own insight, your own wisdom. Do you know the consequences of that to generations? And you imagine somebody being poor right now because what they should have heard that would have made them a success in their lifetime. You are allowing timidity and fear and lack of self-confidence to stop you from sharing it. Can you imagine the ripple effect of you allowing fear to control you, of you allowing procrastination to make you lazy and a person of comfort? Can you picture that? Can you picture that? What calling, what assignment has God entrusted to you that you are treating as something basic? Meanwhile, it is designed for nations to be transformed. That's why I said, as a lady, if you're going to be influential, one of the most important questions that I want you to take back to your private place is this: what has been entrusted to me that I must develop and release to the nations? Write that question in the chat box. What has been entrusted to me that I must develop and release to the nations? If you ask this question and begin to seek the answer and pay the price, there are many of you that when we meet 1 year after, when we meet 2 years after, when we meet 5 years after, you will give me testimonies of the nations you have gone to because you decided to recognize what was entrusted to you. You decided to pay the price and the sacrifice to develop and release to the nations what was entrusted to you. And like I always say, when my mother was 18 years old, 30 years old, it was more difficult for her to reach the nations. In my time, I need to reach the nations faster than my mother and make her proud because I have what she did not have. She did not have WhatsApp, Zoom, and Facebook, LinkedIn, many other platforms, YouTube. This particular program, as of yesterday, we had 18 nations represented, teaching from my study and reaching 18 nations at the same time. Your parents did not have that luxury, but you do. So if you are not taking advantage of what has been committed to you and being a good custodian of that thing, developing it, and releasing it to the nations, in brackets, you may be an embarrassment to your parents because they will look at what you have in your time and they'll be like, if I was just 10 years younger, if I was just 40 years old, I will restart my life from afresh and do something bigger than what you're doing. But I've also seen mothers and fathers who are the age of 60, 75, 70. They make up their mind. I will tap into the resources available in this generation that I did not have and still do something better for what I was called to do. So quickly, how to become a good custodian? Steps to become a good custodian, and we are done for today. Number one, conduct an audit of what has been entrusted to you. Conduct an audit of what has been entrusted to you. Write it down. Step one, if you're going to be a good custodian of purpose and influence, step one, conduct a proper audit of what has been entrusted to you. I did this one time. And I wrote down, for example, how I process ideas, how I see patterns, how I communicate, how I present. I conducted what God has entrusted to me. I conducted and I wrote down my sense of purpose, my sense of passion towards particular set of people in the society. And I said, okay, if you develop these things, become so good at these things, nations will run after you. Conduct the audit of what has been entrusted to you. Take inventory. What ideas repeatedly come back to you? Write it down. What are the burdens you have in your heart for a group of people in the society? Write it down. What are the patterns that you look at life and you see? Write it down. What are the problems that you feel you are responsible to solve? Write it down. When it comes to purpose and passion, what do you have? Write it down. When it comes to skill set, natural giftings and talents, write it down. There are many people that are 30 years old, 40 years old. They don't know. They don't know their highest giftings deposited into them by God. Number two, and this is where many people fall, many women fall, especially. Number two, if you're going to be a good custodian of what has been committed to you, eliminate emotional readiness from your calling. I'm going to explain. Write it down. Eliminate emotional readiness from your calling. People that, what I call people that have emotional readiness, they ask the questions I asked earlier on. Am I perfect to do this? Am I ready for this? Or do I have the confidence? Am I capable? Am I this? Am I that? Oh, I'm not as beautiful as this woman. I'm not as this. I'm not as that. Go, and that is emotional readiness will never help you in your destiny. Go and get it out of your life. Go and eliminate emotional readiness. Stop using emotions to destroy your calling. Many people suffer from emotions determining how ready they are for destiny. I'm telling you, your emotions will always speak against you. I'm telling you, it is designed to do that. Your flesh is designed to fight you. Type not anymore in the chat box, especially those of you know that you are very emotional in this light. You even use the issue of dress to say, I don't have the right dresses to wear to go do this. That is emotional readiness. I'm telling you. Remove that from your life. It is destroying your calling every day of your life. Let me tell you something. Destiny does not wait for confidence. Confidence meets destiny in movement. If you are waiting to start when you are ready, you will never start. Write it down. If you are waiting to start when you are ready, oh, I guarantee you, you're going to keep watching some of us on television. Let me say it again. If you are listening to me and you are waiting to start when you are ready, I guarantee you, very soon you're going to be 50 years old and there is nothing to show for. Why? Calling does not wait for confidence. Calling starts without confidence. Confidence develops in the process. If readiness becomes your excuse, you will never execute anything in your life. Let me say it again. If readiness becomes your excuse, you will never in your life do anything that matters. Type in the chat box, I am ready now. Type in the chat box in the comment section, I am ready now, not tomorrow, not next year, not next month. No, you are ready now. Go and get it done. Go and start it. Go and start it. Right now, you are ready. You are ready. Number three, what is the third thing that must be in your life if you are going to be a good custodian of your purpose and become a woman of influence? This is a principle I live by, and I decided to add it here. Sometimes it is, one of my friends said it is extreme, but I like it because I was teaching, he raised a complaint and I said, look, I live by this principle, so I think it can help you. He said, Joybert is a bit extreme, but I like it. I'm going to try. I'm going to use it. All right. So if you're going to be a good custodian of what God has committed to you, and you're going to be a woman of influence, transition from desire-based living to obligation-based living. Transition from desire-based living to obligation-based living. There are some things you need to start doing in life, not because you feel like doing it, but because you have this mindset that I am obligated, I must do this. I am obligated to do this. Stop living from the place of desire. You will never have many things to desire to do. Let me ask a question. Those of you who are from the morning time zone, it's 5 a.m. right now, but who are here at 4 a.m. If you are listening to me and you genuinely had the desire to leave your bed and to attend this program, type me in the chat box. I'm telling you, you are here because you had to feel obligated that this is important for my destiny. I must get up from my bed at 4 a.m. There is nobody who has the desire every morning to leave their bed, except they are sick. I can tell you from experience. You see, I have been waking up because I used to think about this. But the body is designed to like comfort. Since 2010 till today, you can count days that 4 a.m. made me on the bed. You can count the days. So, but it's been more than 15 years that I started that routine. But every morning I am telling you, my body still doesn't want to leave the bed. I'm telling you. So there is no day this flesh will desire to leave the bed. There's no day, except the flesh is sick. And even when you are sick, sleep will leave your eyes.
but you will still prefer to lie down on your bed. Is that true? Type this in the chat box. There is no day. There is no day. Look at that. People in the UK woke up at 3 a.m. I'm telling you, that cannot happen from the place of desire. Never. Never. It cannot. It happens from the, see, transfer this particular habit to every area of your life. Start practicing obligated living, not desire-based living. Because I'm telling you, your soul and your flesh was never designed to like things that will strain you. Never. It was designed to like comfort. That's why when you're watching Netflix, you don't fall asleep. The moment you start reading your Bible or a book, sleep start coming. It's not because you are sick. No, it's the flesh. And for some of us, you have overfed that flesh for so long. For years, your flesh is used to comfort. For many human beings, that's the problem. For 10 years, for 20 years, their flesh knows only comfort. So the moment that they wanted to step out and do bigger things, they were struggling to do it. They were struggling to do it. Why? Because the flesh doesn't like discomfort. But you have to train yourself. You have to get angry at yourself. You have to tell yourself the age of desire-based living, living based on my desires, because you will always have bad desires, poor desires, selfish desires, comfortable desires. So when I discovered it years ago, I said, every day I am fighting. Stop doing things from the place of desire. Start practicing obligated based living. Identify core things in your life that you're obligated. It doesn't matter how you feel. You are obligated to live up to that particular task. And I'm telling you, you want to produce results that others cannot produce? Practice obligated based living. Identify key things in your life that they have become destiny obligations. It doesn't matter what you're going through. There are some things that you know and you know. These things are critical for my rising. So they are obligated. I am obligated to do these things. It will change your life forever. It will change your life forever. You see, in the last few years, I like to share this a lot. In the last few years, I have had a lot of one-on-one coaching and consultations with people who have crossed, let's say, 45 to 50, and they started experiencing this midlife crisis, right? Where they're worried about their financial future. So they've crossed a certain age and there's nothing to show for when it comes to skill set, being professionals, being good. So they entered 45 and 50 and they notice that their lives are so average. They have nothing exceptional to show for. You get the picture? And I pray that's not you here. If that's you, start changing right now. Because I came across some of them like that. They're like, I'm getting older, and it's as if there's nothing relevant I can show for. Not just resources, not just material things. No. There's a way your brain at the age of 50 is so powerful that you use what you know, and in 1 year you can build and achieve what others take 10 years to achieve. So these are people that they're experiencing midlife crisis, materially nothing to show for, mentally, skill wise, wisdom wise, ideas wise, nothing to show for. Then in that session, I like to ask questions backward about their early age, between the age of 25 and 35 and 45. And guess what? Everybody I have had a discussion with that came to me as a result of being worried about their financial future and a certain age. One of the biggest patterns I discovered from more than 10 people is that between the age of 25 and 45 per se, they were living very comfortable lives. They were into, entertainment, movies, just having fun in life. So then I got older and they noticed that, hey, I had so much fun. I had so much this and that and that, but I did not develop myself. Mentally intelligent, I have nothing to contribute. Skill-wise, I am not among the top 50 in my industry in my country. Even spiritually, they are not weighty. So in many important things that can make you relevant, because like I always say, look, when you're growing older, you need to start making sure that you start becoming good at things that will require you to use more of your brain and your mouth than your strength. It's very important because as you grow older, you will not have the strength to do some things again. There are many of you listening to me. You have to get back and start changing some things very fast. Because you're about to clock 35 or you're 35 and above. And when you look at yourself, if you genuinely do an audit right now and ask yourself, but wait, like have a meeting with yourself and say, wait, on a seriously, mental intelligence on a scale of 1 to 10, how good I am. You're going to notice that you're below 2. Let's keep that aside. On a scale of skill set in my industry, all right, in this industry, if they're looking for the top 50% expert in my industry, can I feature among the top 50%? You know that due to what you read, what you study, and what you practice, you'll never be among the top 90%. You're an average skilled person in your industry. You know it. I'm telling you, if these two things are affected in your life, I am worried about your future. This may be hitting somebody hard because they're looking at their age, looking at what I'm saying, they fall within this cycle. But you see, it's not too late. It's not too late. You can decide and reverse that nonsense in your life. You can decide and start a new path to life. In 5 years, in 7 years, you'll be amazed at what you can become. So there needs to be a shift. There are many of you, because of what you have heard today, from today, desire-based living should die a natural death. Start living obligated-based living. Because of this, and this, and this. I stopped doing things from the place of motivation and excitement. You stop doing things when you feel like doing it. You start doing some things because whether your body likes it or not, whether your emotions like it or not, whether you sleep well or not, those things must be done. I am telling you, this is how to break through. If that's you, type it changes today. You see, the first 3 days or 4 days of this particular event, I am working on your mind and your heart. Before I go to external strategies, because if we don't have the right foundation, many people have 40 foundations. If from yesterday and today you notice that you've been having 40 foundation typed through in the chat box, the first 3-4 days I am focusing on addressing foundations, mental and heart posture foundations, habit foundations, character foundations, lifestyle foundations, daily routine foundations. Let it change today. I always tell my mentees, and I'll say it here. I always tell them that because you are my mentees and the things that you hear from me, there is a kind of life you should never live anymore. I always tell them, not you anymore. There are some things that you hear, not you anymore. And I want to say that to you today, to the ladies going through this ladies summit, not you anymore. Type in the chat box, not me anymore. There are some things that when you hear, there are some things that when you're about to do, you tell yourself, not me anymore. I no longer do this. There's a time about 4 years ago, my mentor had a call with me and he said some things to me. That was where this statement came from. I said, no, because of these things I have heard today, not me anymore. Not me anymore. There needs to be a shift. There needs to be a shift. Last point. What is the last thing to do if you're going to be a good custodian of your purpose, your destiny, and what God has entrusted to you? Shift from personal fulfillment to generational accountability. Shift from personal fulfillment to generational accountability. Shift from that mindset of, I want a good car, I want a good house, I want a wife, I want a husband, and so what? And so what? People that live for generations, those things come to them effortlessly. When I talk to Christians, I tell them, if all your prayer points are on your personal needs, do you know you're praying for things that unbelievers have? You're praying for things that people who don't know God at all, people who say God doesn't exist, they don't pray to have those things. But you are using the sacredness of prayer. Do you know how many people don't know the weightiness of prayer? You are using prayer. And the only thing you can ask from the place of prayer are things that unbelievers can have. Come on now. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. My desire is to be a custodian of insight, understanding, wisdom by the Spirit that unbelievers cannot possess. When I talk, you will know this guy knows something I don't know. This guy fellowship with a spirit that I don't fellowship with. And there are some things that when you begin to access what others pray for, run after you. It's a spiritual law. It's a spiritual law. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. All these things will be added to you. If you stay consistent in alignment with that covenant, you're going to see it happen to you. There are some of you, if you just intensify the work you do right now and say, you know what I'm doing right now, God gave it to me for this generation. I am going to multiply my commitment, my diligence, my hard work, and impact more people. Some things you desire will run after you. Money will run after you. Because there's a way you go after a generation. There's a way you're so generational conscious. You know that this generation cannot be complete if I don't live the fullness of my purpose. You begin to have that mindset. I am telling you, some things that others beg and cry for, you will have it at the beck and call. You know why? Because the society, God designed the universe to favor people like that. Let me tell you, your calling is not about how meaningful your life is. That's why I have a personal rule I live by. There are some things I will never post on social media. I will never post on social media. A good car, a good house, this and that should not give me some meaning in life. Flying on business class I should not, why? There are better things that I should use social media for. Because calling is not about how meaningful my life is. Calling is about how I shift my generation for the glory of God. And we begin to shift, I'm telling you, if you're going to be a good custodian of your purpose, influence, and all the entrustment God has given to you, begin to push yourself beyond personal fulfillment and begin to pursue generational impact and accountability. It will change your life forever as a leader. Because come to a place where you understand that this gifting God gave me, these talents God gave me, these ideas running through my mind, God has entrusted to me. And I must become a compulsory influential voice in my generation for the sake of what God entrusted to me. If you're here and your biggest desires still revolve around getting married, having a good car, a good house, having financial stability, you are not ready to be a voice of influence as a lady. But if you start from today and make up your mind, those things are important to have, but they don't define me. There is something God has given to me for this generation. And you can start small. There are some of you, you can start as small as gathering 5 people in your WhatsApp group. The number may look small, but what you're going to say to them or do with them can affect the entire family. And you have started shifting a generation one person at a time. I always say this. About 15 years ago, I used to organize events and nobody will come. No human being will come. Nobody. I'm telling you. There was a particular event I organized in Kumbu. Some guys came and assisted me to arrange chairs in the hall. The next day, the volunteers who helped me did not come. The people I invited did not come. I unpacked the chairs by myself and went back home. But you see, the same person that was rejected have been invited across the nations to do the same thing that people did not come to listen to. I challenge you. One of the best things you can know how to do as a woman is to shift from personal fulfillment and desires to generational accountability. Come to that place where you understand that I have entered a stage in my life where delay is too costly for me, where procrastination is too heavy for me, where silence will cost me my life. There are many of you, that's where you are. You are delaying, you are procrastinating, you are postponing, you are silent. And these 4 things are costing you so much in ways you cannot imagine. At the same time, there is a woman somewhere, there is a young boy somewhere, there is a marriage somewhere suffering because you are delaying, you are procrastinating, you are postponing, and you are silent. And because you are just worried about, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, you allow the lack of your personal needs to determine how you feel about destiny. Let me tell you something. There are some things you will only start handling when you have come to a point in your life where some situations in your life do not determine your destiny manifestation. There are some people right now, if they don't have house rent for next month, they stop manifesting their purpose because they have a personal need. But they don't know that the house rent that they need, and maybe the money to pay and buy a house, is hiding in their purpose. So the moment they are using personal fulfillment to stop manifesting generational impact, they don't know that they are delaying their own breakthroughs and their manifestation. Let me say it again. There are some of us listening to me right now as ladies. You are delaying and it's costing you so much. You are procrastinating and it's affecting your life, your family, and the people you are called to impact. Some of you, you are silence. Your silence is your decision to fail in life. There are some of you, fear and timidity has turned you to a local champion. Meanwhile, if we look at the prophetic agenda for your destiny at this particular age, you should have been to 14 countries already. But because of timidity and fear, you are not even a local champion. Because of what people are going to say, because of how people are going to judge you, because you're afraid of mistakes. You that you are supposed to be a voice to nations, you are not even a voice to your village because of fear and timidity, because you are considering personal fulfillment. You think about yourself too much. They will say this about me. What about the people that their lives are depending on you? You are a selfish person. Shift from personal fulfillment, personal desires, personal acceptance. Let those things begin to die out of you because there is a generation waiting for your voice. There's a nation waiting to consume your ideas. There are companies desiring the ideas that you have in your mind. Step out. Accept your calling. From today, make up your mind. My calling, my purpose is non-negotiable as far as my life is concerned. That is it for day 2 on the topic Custodian of Purpose and Influence. I believe you are blessed, and I believe that your life will never remain the same. Like I always tell them mentees, I will tell you right now, because of what you have heard today, there are some things you should say not anymore to, and rise up to the fullness of your calling. Tomorrow, same time, we gather again and we do, I don't have time for questions today, but tomorrow maybe shorter, but heavier, and I'll have questions. All right. The recorded link will be shared in our WhatsApp group. Go through again, take some notes. Remember, I always tell you guys, if you listen to all of this and something doesn't change in your daily routine, in your daily habits, in your lifestyle, you just watch a Netflix movie. You did not attend a summit. You did not attend a conference. Proof of attending a program like this is what changes in your daily routine, character, habits, lifestyle, and the work that you do. So I hope you were not entertained, but you were transformed. All right, people, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow, 4 a.m. GMT +1. Those in other countries, convert to your local time. And please invite somebody to be part of this. It's totally free. I made it free intentionally because more people need to get these things. Sometimes when we put some things, I always tell God, the more you bless me, the more I do many things for free. Right? Sometimes some things are paid, it excludes many people. And I hate that. I hate that. That's why sometimes I do many free programs, but I'm like, why do you give this so much out for free? All right. But there's a burden I have towards that. There's a weight I have in my spirit. I feel bad when people feel excluded. That's why even when I do paid programs, sometimes I still offer so many scholarships, right? Because I hate to see somebody being excluded from what could have changed their lives. And sometimes a biased thing too, because I did not go to the university immediately. I was done with high school because of money issues. So anytime I see somebody being excluded from what can change their lives, it aches me a lot. It's a personal desire to make sure nobody gets excluded. But sometimes free things are not good also. But I hope that even though it's free, what I'm sharing, there are people that pay a lot of money for me to share in their communities. All right. But I hope that even though it's free, you value it, you practice it. If your life remains the same after these 10 days or so, you cannot blame God, you cannot blame me. God is like, I gave you something to do, so I cannot act on my path. Did you do it? Because you must do the slingshot so that the power of God can rest on the stone and pull down Goliath. All right. So do your part and let God do his part. All right. I see somebody from YouTube asking for the WhatsApp link. Please check the description section of this video. You'll see a WhatsApp number. Send a WhatsApp message. You can just type Ladies Summit and somebody will send you the link and you join the community. All right. Because this will be happening very frequent throughout the year as God permits us. All right, people, God bless you. See you tomorrow sometime and execute what you have learned.